Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny.
You know what time it is, so sit back and get ready for the Stafford Voice, your dose of conservative in a world of liberal.
3, 2, 1.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? Yes, that's right. I'm your host, Daniel Stafford, and you are tuned in to the Stafford Voice, where we are conservative in a world of liberal, and tonight we're talking about the two big things going on out there in the world. Welcome to the Birther 2.0 movement, thanks to Donald Trump. I guess if you want to give him a round of applause, boo. Also, I saw something come across today that really made me stop what I was doing, and I immediately printed out what I found and started digging into it, because this was extremely interesting, and unfortunately, we'll probably have to cover this topic a little more in depth when we get some time, because there's a little more involved into what we're going to talk about tonight with the about this warning, I guess you could say, from Muammar Gaddafi back in 2011. We're going to touch on that. We've got a phone transcript I want to touch on about that. Also, I'm going to probably give you 2016, since we're in 2016. 2016, the best cities to find a job according to wallethub.com. And yeah, I guess there's really one major thing to take away from it. We'll touch on that later. Also, we've got something for On This Day in History. And yes, we were able to find something for your laughter later on, towards the end of the evening. So we'll get to that later on. So, wherever you're listening, you need to set this channel as a favorite, wherever you're at. Whether you're listening through TuneIn, or you're using your Roku device, or you're on your smartphone, whatever you're using to listen, just hit that favorite button, hit the subscribe or the follow button, set it as a favorite, whatever you got to do, because the last thing you want to do is get left behind. And for some strange, crazy reason, you do miss the show. However you're following, you'll be able to catch the replay. So just sit tight. There's no need to panic. Yes, I've got you. And in the case you aren't already following on social media, well, to hell with you. I'm going to go sick some minions. They're going to get on you. I've got a good buddy of mine in the chat room tonight over at k98talk.com/chat-room, or you can head over to thestaffordvoice.com/listen-live and join the chat room with a handful of my buddies over there, like Slickery Trigger. You know what? He will make sure, he's going to force you to follow us over on the Twitters at Stafford Voice. Again, that's at Stafford Voice. Or you can follow us over on Facebook. All you got to do, just search for the Stafford Voice. And be sure, wherever you're at, to send some love to the station, K98 Talk, and the handful of affiliates that we've acquired. Because without them, it would really kind of make it kind of difficult to get our message out there and be able to talk to you every Monday and Thursday night, 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. That's right. We're going twice a week. Absolutely super stoked about this. I actually was more excited about talking tonight than I was Monday, because Monday just kind of seems to be the mundane stuff. Anyway, stay up to date with some of the stories and things that we talk about here on the show over at thestaffordvoice.com. Since you're already there, do me a favor. At the top of the page, you will find Uncle Sam. He's staring you down, and he wants you to do us a favor. He wants you to fill out a short little survey. It will take you less than 5 minutes to answer 5 simple questions. That's all we ask. 5 questions, less than 5 minutes. Do it after the show because we don't want to lose you while we've got you. Okay. So into this whole the Trump welcome to the birther 2.0 movement. I actually was really disappointed with the trumpet wanting to play this tune because he has yet to really and honestly go after Ted Cruz. It's almost like they've got some back room, back alley thing going on between them where they're not going to blatantly come out and attack either one of them. It's almost like they're in cahoots. So this whole Trump birther thing really kind of got me on edge. And it's because we've talked about this before. Ted Cruz is extremely qualified to be president of the United States. There's no question about whether he's a United States citizen or not, naturally born. It's been covered in more ways than one, but you really have to look at the whole thing. There's more to this than just Trump bringing this up. Now, before we get into that, you have to realize that Trump was not always a birther until now. Check this out.
From what I understand, everything is fine. I hear that it was checked out by every attorney and every which way, and I understand Ted is in fine shape. I hope he knows what he's doing, but I always heard you had to be born in the country, okay? But now you have a situation where Ted, and I like Ted, Ted has just one extra level of complication because he was a joint citizen a couple of years ago. I mean, he was a Canadian and an American citizen just a couple of years ago. So it's one extra level of complication that other people, frankly, don't have. I'm sure, I hope he's going to be okay. I think he's a talented guy. He's a nice guy. I like him. But it is one extra level that he has to worry about.
Okay. Trump was not a birther, but now he is. That's the thing with Trump. Trump is the double talk king. The only other guy that can really do the double talk as well as Trump can is Obama. Obama double talks all the time. But so does Trump. And that's the way he's gotten across to so many people. Because in one sentence, he's able to not only make fun of you, but then turn around and say that he's a nice guy, but he's not going to do that. He's not going to attack you. Remember a while back with the whole Carly Fiorina thing when he made fun he made fun of her face. And he also made fun of he also threw out the idea that she ran Hewlett Packard into the ground. And the way he does it is, for instance, and again, this is the way he does it, and I'm paraphrasing a lot of his words. He would get out there and say, look, I'm not going to say that Carly Fiorina, nice lady, I like her, I'm a nice guy. I don't want to say she ran Hewlett Packard into the ground. I'm not going to do it, not going to touch it, I'm a nice guy. I like Carly Fiorina. So see, in the same sentence, I guess if that sentence had... If you were able to put together a sentence structure with that many grammatical errors, Trump would have written the book on it already. But Trump is the king of double talk. It's his tactic. It's his strategy. And he got somebody else onto this whole birther movement, and I don't put it past this guy because this guy's just as washy as Trump is. Check this.
You agree? You won't find me questioning his eligibility. I decided a long time ago I wasn't going to be a birther. You're not going to be a birther. I'm not a birther for Democrats. I'm not a birther for Republicans. I'm staying out of that. I think without question he is qualified and would make the cut, to be Prime Minister of Canada. Absolutely. Without question, he's qualified and he meets qualifications.
Okay, so Rand Paul. Rand Paul jumped on the bandwagon. And he played into Trump's strategy. Here's the Trump strategy. Okay? Trump did this for a reason. It's to bring notice to two people. Two people, okay? The two people that it brings the notice to are Trump, obviously, because whenever Trump gets out there and talks, the main person he always wants to talk about is himself. Nobody loves Trump more than Trump. Okay? The other guy is Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz will wind up coming out on top of this whole thing. And that's the whole double talk strategy that Trump has done. Trump will be able to come... Either way that it turns, either way this goes, whether it hurts Cruz, if it hurts Cruz, Trump is going to be able to say, see, I told you, he can't do it, the Democrats are going to pounce all over this, he can't do it, he's not qualified, there's a real problem, you need to elect me as president. But if it helps him, if Cruz is helped by this whole Birther 2.0 movement that Trump started, Trump is going to be able to come out and say, see, because I brought this up and I took the attention away from it from the Democrats. The Democrats can't bring it up later on when this election matters. You can thank me later. You're welcome. That's the strategy of Trump. That's why he says the complete opposite of what he starts with. That's his strategy. But he doesn't fully understand political strategy, especially presidential politics. He does not understand it. In the world of politics, anybody in the chat room, answer me this question. What is your first and only focus when you're trying to get elected? What is the one big thing that you want to accomplish? Anybody? That's right, Iowa. Nobody cares about Florida right now. Nobody cares about California. Nobody cares about Maine. Nobody cares about Kansas. None of that stuff. The main focus is Iowa. You win Iowa with the hope that you can go over to New Hampshire and take New Hampshire. And from there you can go over to, what's the third one? South Carolina or something like that? That you pick up the momentum. And right now, who's on top of the polls in Iowa? On top of the poll in Iowa is Ted Cruz. That's why Trump has pretty much picked up and left and has moved everything over and is ready to start dumping money into New Hampshire and with wanting to do the ad blitz, which was a horrible ad. He could have paid me and I could have put a better ad together, and I promise I wouldn't have made him look bad. I could have made him look good, because I'm a nice guy. I don't want to do that. That ad was horrendous. Okay. That's the whole birther 2.0 movement. It doesn't really matter. Trump will be able to spin this in favor of himself. Well, these pals are just chatting away over in the chat room and talking about doing a goat contestant on Trump's commercial. Wow. That would be huge. Anyway, so that's the whole strategy, and that's how I see it with the birther 2.0 movement with Trump. Is he's already ready to throw his cards. He's ready to call. He wants to see what everybody else is holding, and thankfully, and again, who knows? Maybe they do have a deal. Maybe Trump is secretly stumping for Cruz. But in the end, Cruz came out on top. Cruz has a hilarious sense of humor that when the whole thing started with Trump coming out and doing the whole birther talk and questioning his citizenship, Cruz responded by sending out a tweet with the Fonz out on water skis jumping the shark. In a roundabout way, that's basically Cruz saying, okay, yeah, but I just jumped over you and you're really nothing to me. I thought it was hilarious. I enjoyed it. It's probably one of the best comebacks so far during the whole campaign so far. And things are just getting warmed up. Okay, speaking of just getting warmed up, we're going to take a quick break. Yes, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about what recently came out about Gaddafi and whether or not it was a quote-unquote prophetic warning. I found this to be absolutely fascinating. I will be digging into this a little further. I don't know if we'll be able to put as much research into it for Monday next week, or let alone Thursday, because Thursday next week is the Republican debate. So obviously we're going to make fun of people on that. But we're going to definitely have to put some research into this and some of what happened afterwards into what we're seeing today, because I can't say how interesting this is, and it's really, really eye-opening, if you ask me. I think it will give you a completely different thought on global politics. So when we come back, that's what we're going to talk about. And before we go to break, look, I want to remind you guys that, this show is brought to you by way of you, the listener. This show is completely listener-funded and listener-supported. We can't do it without your help. And one of the ways that you're able to help is through our pledge drive. For the next 20-some days, we're holding our pledge drive through our good friends over at RWNJ Funding. And when we were putting the idea for the pledge drive together for the Stafford Voice show, I thought to myself, there's no other place I want to do this other than with RWNJ. These guys believe the same things I do. They love the Constitution. They are conservative. They share some libertarian values. And when it comes down to it, they really care about me just as much as I care about them. And with their help, they're helping us host our pledge drive for 2016. So please head on over to rwnjfunding.com. Again, that's rwnjfunding.com. Take a look at our pledge drive, and if you are so inclined, please drop us a few bones. Let us know that you care about the show, or take a look at some of the other pledges that are some of the other crowdfunding opportunities that are over there. I think you'll be surprised at what level of funding is happening with rwnjfunding.com. Again, take a look at it over at RWNJ Funding. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Gaddafi and a phone call. We'll be right back.
Red Nation Rising brings you Town Hall Radio.
From a single tweet to 3 million a month, our community is a force to be reckoned with on social media.
So don't miss our show, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Our chat room is our co-host, and you ask the question.
Join us and be heard.
So get ready to sound off on Red Nation Rising Radio. No one else is going to do it for you.
There's a wild, wild whisper blowing in the wind, calling out my name.
I'm not the type of guy that jumps into anything without first doing my research. And when I was looking for a holster, I'll admit I was having one heck of a time. You know what I'm talking about here. You find one you like, you try it on, it would be clunky. Another one fits good, but costs way too much. So you try on one last holster, it was slim, lightweight, priced right, but lo and behold, you slide your pistol in, and it falls right out. So what do? You've tried all these mass market holsters. Well, go custom. I know what you're thinking. I thought it too. Too pricey. Wrong. My guy over at Rebel Road Tactical will not only put together the perfect fitting, hand-molded, hand-assembled, custom Kydex holster, but you'll get it at an affordable price. Don't wait. Contact Rebel Road Tactical today at 682-217-4579. Again, that's 682-217-4579. Place your order.
It's the dramatic reinvention of talk radio.
Here come the spy dolphins.
The only thing that can cure racism is Robert E. Lee's penis.
Who named this cat Limberbutt McCubbin? A Trump-Biden debate.
Plugs versus rugs. Real serious nonsense. The show's so bad, you'll laugh at us.
The worst podcast. We obviously hold that title.
Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Conservative in a world of liberal.
The Stafford Voice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice. And again, when I saw this story come across earlier this morning, if I was driving and tweeting at the same time or whatever I was doing, I could have been probably walking along a hiking trail and fell to my death off of a cliff when I saw this. This story stopped me in my tracks. This was the release of a phone transcript between Muammar Gaddafi and Prime Minister Tony Blair. It was dated February 25th, 2011. Okay, now, in reality, Gaddafi was basically issuing a prophetic warning to Blair that if Gaddafi's regime was to be taken down, it would cause undue instability. There would be absolutely no stability in the region, and it would allow a jihadist network to step forward and take over the region. Now, the first call lasted, it only lasted about, looks like half an hour. And the second phone call that they had later on in the day, it too only lasted about half an hour. But there was about a 4-hour gap in between. Is that right? Yeah, about a 4-hour gap. So let me set the stage. This, at the time, Gaddafi, he was witnessing what was happening in his country, Libya, and erupting was the civil war. The last thing Gaddafi wanted to see was this civil war take place. He wanted peace, despite the fact that Gaddafi was a horrible person at times. Just like Saddam, he offered a level of security and peace to the region. When we took out Saddam Hussein, instantly there was chaos in the region. Well, what happened after Gaddafi died? There was unrest. So these two phone calls was Gaddafi warning Tony Blair about an impending jihadist idea coming in and taking over the area, and Tony Blair telling Gaddafi to calm down, relax, and don't do anything stupid. Don't go out there and arm the people. You don't want to cause a civil war. You don't want that to erupt, because then it's going to spread and it's going to be really, really bad. Well, he was deposed out of... he was no longer in charge by August, and he was later murdered by a mob in October. But let me read to you some of the stuff from these two transcripts. Again, this was eye-opening into what is happening today, to the lack of strength caused, the lack of strength from other nations in wanting to try and regime build by getting rid of people like Gaddafi. We see the rise of the Islamic State. So I'm going to read to you, and this first section is rather lengthy, but this is from Gaddafi. These are his words from this transcript, and he is talking to Prime Minister Tony Blair. He says, now this was after Tony Blair had tried to contact him, and so he finally gets in contact with him again. And this was around 11 o'clock. Somewhere between 11 and 11:30 on the 25th of February, 2011. Now, again, that's 5 months after 9/11. 5 months. And, no, I'm sorry. My math there was wrong. This was, a little over 10 years. Because 9/11 was in 2000 and this was in 2011. So a little over 10 years. And this right here is getting ready to blow your mind. This is from Gaddafi. Thank you for the call, Mr. Blair. No one has told me that you tried to call me. I want to tell you the truth. It is not a difficult situation at all. The story is simply this. An organization has laid down sleeping cells in North Africa called the Al-Qaeda organization in North Africa, or the Islamic Mahada, or something like that. They don't use the Arab words, the Arab words. They use Islamic. The sleeping cells in Libya are similar to dormant cells in America before 9/11. Out of the blue, they were given instructions to attack police stations and to cause this disturbance. They managed to get weapons. Suddenly, the buildings were attacked and fire exchanged. Very limited victims on both sides. The police were taken by surprise that they weren't attacked, or that they were attacked. It is not their tactic to have demonstrations. They're not that type. He said something about similar to Afghanistan and Algeria. They have managed to get arms and terrify people. People can't leave their homes. They have been threatened with arms. They have managed to set up local stations and in Benghazi have spread thoughts and ideas of Al-Qaeda. They want to name it Al-Qaeda Emirates. The leader is a Guantanamo detainee called Al-Hassadi. The U.S. intelligence knows him. They handed him to us. His followers are Al-Qaeda, Islamic or Umara or something like that. It's a jihad situation. They have arms and are terrorizing people in the streets. Once you attack them, they run away, not getting a true image. No foreign correspondents here. We have asked all world reporters to come and see the truth. They are armed gangs who have weapons, not decided to face them with force, asking their families to convince them to lay down arms. You can't reason with them. They keep saying things like Muhammad is the prophet, similar to bin Laden. They are paving the way for him in North Africa. They're paving the way for him in North Africa. Shift the system to North Africa. They are controlling the Mediterranean Sea. The plan is to... and there was a little bit of a gap there in the line in trying to interpret through some garbage, but so the plan is to do something in the Mediterranean Sea. Ships and vessels of non-believers, like in the day of Barbarossa and during the Ottoman Empire. They want to control the Mediterranean, and then they will attack Europe. Need to explain to the international community. Reporters can come to make sure this is the truth. They are welcome. Once in their own hands, they slaughter them. Role to play regarding this matter. Anyone who wants to find the truth, they can. The gates are open. We are all against terrorism. We have already made that alliance together. Now, a little later in their discussion here, where Tony Blair is continuing to try and get him to not resort to violence, Gaddafi says, fine, but you must emphasize that the fight is against Al-Qaeda. We're not fighting them. They are attacking us. He later on goes to say, we have no problem with the Libyan people. They are hostages in Benghazi, and again, there was a little bit of a misinterpretation. They are using force. Again, back and forth with Tony Blair. And then Gaddafi says, that's fine. Such a message was Obama in the same terms. I guess that Obama understood what's taking place. Once foreign reporters come here and portray the truth, they will see the whole truth. So, let's pass some time and get to the second phone call. So time has expired, and Tony Blair has done some... He's done some diplomatic talking back and forth before they talk again. So Gaddafi picks up by saying, so Tony Blair starts correspondence by saying, these are the reports that are there on the news. Let me explain, because I have talked to people. Everyone wants a peaceful end to this. He's referring to this unrest in Libya, what everybody else was seeing was this civil war that was coming up. So Gaddafi, No fighting at all in Libya. Who said that? They want something else. It's a campaign of colonization. We have to defy the colonization. There is nothing here. No fight, no blood. Come to Tripoli to see everything here. Let me read that to you again. He says they want something else. It's a campaign of colonization. Wow. Then he continues a few minutes later by saying, Libyan people will die. Damage will be on the Mediterranean, Europe, and the whole world. These armed groups are using this situation as a justification, and we shall fight them. Obviously, Tony Blair didn't really agree with what was happening. So, again, they go back and forth talking about what Tony Blair was seeing on TV and the idea of recolonizing Libya. And he at one point tells Gaddafi that nobody wants to recolonize Libya, that Libya is for its own people. So fast forward a few more minutes, and Gaddafi says, there is fighting in Algeria, Afghanistan, and Pakistan, etc. Are you supporting terrorism? Tony Blair, we are completely opposed to terrorism and Al-Qaeda. The only way out now is to allow a constitutional change process to take place now. I'm literally shaking my head at this. Gaddafi replies by saying, the Al-Qaeda elements are not for change. This is not their demand. These are kids. No one is talking about constitution or change. Mind-blowing. So I'm going to reach out to some people and help me and get some good minds that have a good grasp on history, and we're going to dive into this, and we're going to bring back to you what we find at the end of our research. One of them, one person that I've already reached out to join the team of research is a good buddy of mine, and you guys know him. You guys have known him for a long time, at Army John. That guy is a solid individual. Absolutely love him to death, and I'm super excited that he's willing to help with a project like this, because he's got such a good grasp on stuff like this, and it's almost frightening when we chat back and forth outside of the show. I will be in the middle of trying to send him a message or something, and by the time I get ready to hit the send button, he's already sent me pretty much word for word what I'm getting ready to say. So we share the same brain. The guy is super solid. So we're going to reach out and we're going to dig into this. This is absolutely mind-blowing. I think there's a lot more to this than just this one correspondence. We're going to have to try and find more evidence, and we're going to have to link it together with the other unrest. And I have a feeling that what we find out, it is going to be so damning on so many different countries and national leaders that you will probably be embarrassed that these guys and gals ever made it into the office that they're in right now. Completely crazy that this stuff was being talked about, and yet nobody wanted to do anything. The only thing people wanted to do was continue to build a regime in Libya that would help try and lay a foundation for a better future. At least that's how some politicians would have tried to spin it. My mind is just racing right now. I can't even contain my thoughts about this whole thing. You know, to know that we have been warned by somebody that high officials in the United States really wanted to take out. And this is what happens when, despite the fact Saddam Hussein or Muammar Gaddafi, despite the fact that these two guys were not really the best of guys, despite that, they offered a level of security in the region that nobody else could have done. It was a vacuum when Saddam was taken out. That vacuum was given a little turbo when Gaddafi was taken out. And now, look what has happened. This is stuff that some people have been warning about for quite a while, but nobody wanted to listen. But you know what? We're just going to have to dive into it and bring you the research that we find out. And unfortunately, we're probably just going to have to let go of the steering wheel, I guess you could say, and just let somebody else control it, because eventually there's going to be so much unrest, and we're starting to see it now with no diplomatic ties right now between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Now you have the introduction of the, lack of better terms, civil war within Islam. You've got the Sunnis and the Shias, and right now they're at complete odds. And eventually, one is going to come out on top, and when whoever it is or whatever it is comes out on top, it is, I don't even want to dream about that day. If you've read The Good Book, and I think you know what book I'm talking about, that if you've read The Good Book, you know how that particular story plays out. But you know what? We're going to take our last break, and when we come back, I'm going to tell you the 5 top cities for 2016. Now, these are the best cities to find a job according to WalletHub.com, and I think you're going to find a theme when I read off these 5 cities. So that's what we'll talk about when we come back. Also, we will talk about On This Day in History, and we'll get to our final segment of the evening, which is Who Said That? So when we come back, that's what we're going to discuss right here on K98 Talk, or wherever you're listening. This is the Stafford Voice. We'll be right back.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
This is JD.
And this is Stacy.
Join us Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, for Game On. Remember, lock up the children and the old folks.
Game On, the home of liberconservative conservatism.
Where no one is safe, and no one is spared, not even the hosts.
Oh, that was supposed to be a spin cycle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We love you anyway. Right round, baby.
Self-monitoring
right
Ebola
round.
radio strikes again.
Anyway.
Anybody see the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? For God's sake, I need an antidote. Just do your rant. Let's pop out of the segment.
Has to do with
Find us on Twitter at JD and Stacy.
You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whether you're an employee or business owner, when it comes to the correct course of legal action, it's the first step that is important. And make that first step with attorney Ted Hong. You need someone you can trust and has the experience you need when it comes to workplace and employment law. If you've lost your employment due to discrimination, false accusations, or being denied benefits, you need Ted Hong. Or if you're an employer who wants to ensure compliance with workplace regulations and labor contracts, you need Ted Hong. Ted and his team also cover family and property law and estate litigation as well. Ted has over 30 years of experience, and him and his amazing legal team will provide you cost-effective legal consultation and make the experience all about you and your needs. For more information or to set up a consultation, contact the law office of Ted Hong at 808-933-1919 or visit tedhonglaw.com. Ted Hong, an experienced and principled attorney you can trust. 808-933-1919 or tedhonglaw.com.
Conservative in a world of liberal.
The Stafford Voice.
All right, we're back. That's right. I'm your host, Daniel Stafford. And this is the Stafford Voice, where, yes, we are conservative in a world of liberal. I mean, there's just a few of us out there that understand and see what's happening. So thank you. So, look, we all know that trying to find good employment is usually at the top of any of our lists. The last thing you want to do is find yourself in the unemployment line. So, if you're out there looking, or you want to grow, or you're looking for a new place to move and with more hope of prosperity, where can you look? Well, WalletHub.com has put together a pretty extensive list. They looked at 150 different cities, and there were 5 that came out on top for their 2016 best cities to find a job. Number 5, we'll count these down. Number 5 was Salt Lake City, Utah. That's actually one area that I'm really, really interested in traveling to. There's some beautiful scenery out there, beautiful, beautiful area to go on hikes and campouts, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful region of the United States. Number 4, Irving, Texas. I've spent some time out in Texas. Absolutely loved the state. The 2 years that I was stationed down there. And we were actually really, really close to number 3 on the list, Austin, Texas. Didn't spend a lot of time in Austin. I'm not the party type guy, but it is what it is. Austin is a booming city. I mean, I don't know that city really rests. Number 2 is Overland Park, Kansas. Overland Park, Kansas, you're probably thinking, how in the heck did Kansas make this list? Well, let me tell you, because Overland Park, Kansas is not very far from where we are actually broadcasting right now. Overland Park is located in a very affluent county, Johnson County, and at one time it was related, or that it was on one of those lists of the most richest counties. I think they rated it pretty high. I think in the top 10. I'm going to say the top 10 because I really don't remember, but I know it was really, really high up on the list of richest counties in America. And yes, that's right. It's kind of viewed as Silicon Valley of the Midwest if you're joining us in the chat room. There are quite a few tech companies, and even in other cities around Overland Park. There Garmin headquarters is not very far from Overland Park. There are some other startup companies that are doing really, really well. With Google coming into the Kansas City region, that really, really helped the area, because that's way too technical. Let's not get over ourselves. So, look, Overland Park, Kansas, I'm going to say is kudos to Kansas for putting one out there. But number one on the list is Plano, Texas. I have to admit, I really don't know a lot about Plano, Texas. But if you've noticed a theme, in the top 5 best cities to find a job, according to wallethub.com, one thing stands out, and one thing alone. Texas. You want to find a job, go to Texas. If you're in the construction field, move to Texas. The last time we drove through Texas, from as far north as Dallas all the way down to San Antonio along I-35, there was not 1 mile that was not being touched by construction. Redoing roads, redoing bridges. Oh man, the place was just booming. So move to Texas if you want to find a really, really good job. There's that's all I got to say about that. I guess the statistics speak for themselves, right? Okay, so on this day in history, and we're not going to dive too far into this one because it really kind of speaks for itself. It's complete contrast to what has happened the last 7 years, but hopefully a look into the direction of where we're going towards the end of this year. But on this day in history, the 7th of January, the year was 1789. The first presidential election was held here in America. And as expected, George Washington won the election and was sworn into office on April 30th, 1789. So that's really cool. I'm very, very fond of George Washington's leadership. I don't think you can question any of it. He was well respected. There was a few people. I've done quite a bit of research on George Washington towards the end of 2015, and there was a small little group out there that didn't really like Washington, but nonetheless highly, highly respected and won handily in that election. Hopefully that we take note as to what we're looking for later on this year in electing a principled person to lead this country. So I'm looking over at the time, and it is that time, ladies and gentlemen. All right, yes, that sound tells us it's time for Who Said That? And Who Said That is a tiny little segment that we devote to making fun of someone out there in the world. Doesn't matter if you're a Republican, a conservative, a liberal, a Democrat, socialist. I guess we got to throw that one out there because it's been talked about lately in the news, in the alphabet soup of news. This actually is really, really disgusting, to say the least, that there are this many ignorant people in the world. But nonetheless, it happens. Unfortunately, they probably have degrees, and they probably, some of them have studies in women's liberal arts or something like that. I don't know what the women who were interviewed have degrees in, but that's probably what the guys have. Anyway, nonetheless, we're going to roll this and just have a listen, because this is utterly ridiculous. Check this out.
The idea that North Korea might have a hydrogen bomb would be somewhat alarming to those of us who are here on the West Coast. But we went out on the street today, and it seems like if you ask people a question in a cheerful enough manner, we Americans will offer congratulations for just about anything.
North Korea announced that they finally were able to successfully detonate a hydrogen bomb. The world is excited. People are sending their congratulations.
That's really good.
Yeah, would you like to congratulate North Korea?
Congratulations, North Korea. Finally. I mean, it's about time, you know?
Would you like to say congratulations to North Korea? Any words of encouragement for them?
I think that, I think if you do believe that one day dreams can come true, I think. It's definitely a Disney, thing to do.
Would you say this is a great example of if you can dream it, you can achieve it?
For sure. If you believe you can do it, then you can achieve it.
And North Korea has done that with the hydrogen bomb.
Then that's good for them.
Yeah, you just gotta stick to your dreams, and anything can come true. Yeah, so we see they stuck to it.
Especially with North Korea and its hydrogen bomb.
Yeah.
Everyone's so excited for them. They're sending their congratulations. Would you like to congratulate North Korea?
Congratulations, North Korea. That's awesome.
Congratulations, Kim Jong-un, on everything you've done. You've done a really good job. Keep it up. Stay safe. Good work.
Congratulations on achieving your dream, North Korea.
Congratulations, North Korea. That's a high five.
Oh my word. Seriously, you've got to be kidding me. They found some of the dumbest of the dumb to be interviewed for the Jimmy Kimmel Show. And that was from his show last night, where they went out and hit the streets and asked these people to give congratulations to North Korea. North flippin' Korea, who puts their prisoners in a cage small enough to put a chihuahua in. And we're congratulating them for detonating what they're calling a miniature hydrogen bomb? We have yet to say yes or no to that, but that's what they're claiming. You've got to be kidding me. Oh my word, these people vote too. Remember that. Remember that when you go to the election booth, that you are among the smartest listening audience out there. Because you are the most educated of voters, and for that I'm thankful that I don't have to worry about anybody listening to this show is that dumb to go out and want to enthusiastically say thank you or congratulations to North Korea. You've got to be kidding me. Anyway, you know what? That's all the time we have for this week. And God willing, we will be back next week on Monday and Thursday. That's right, every Monday and Thursday here, wherever you're listening. Monday and Thursday, 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. Follow me over on the Twitters at Stafford Voice. Look me up on the Facebooks, searching for the Stafford Voice. Email your questions, comments, or concerns to thestaffordvoice@gmail.com. Again, that's thestaffordvoice@gmail.com. And until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks, and God bless.